This episode of Scarifyer brought to you by Morbidly Beautiful, your home for horror.
Hey there, this is John Hernandez, star of Stan the Mechanic, and you're listening to Scarifyer.
Scream for your life! To a new world of gods and monsters.
Alright, the Gov is going to tell you real quick how to bring the horror into your own home with a handmade soy wax candle from American Nightmare Candle Company. The scents are inspired by locations iconic to the horror genre, places like the Overlook Hotel, Sleepy Hollow, and Elm Street. Each fragrance combination is carefully curated to transport you into the story, and the catalog is ever evolving. So head over to Etsy or to AmericanNightmareCandles.com and get 10% off when you use the code SCARIFYER at checkout. This deal only makes sense, so get your American Nightmare candle today.
All right, you psychos, here we are today. We're going to do some classic Scarifyer. We're going to talk about the cult classic Hatchet from 2006. I am the Ace.
I am the Gov.
And I'm Quinn.
And I'm John. Hi!
Who the fuck is that? All right, Psycho Nations. Yes, we have a very special guest in the studio today, so let's give a warm welcome to the house that Psychos built, John Hernandez. Welcome to Scarifyer.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
So excited to have you on the show.
I'm so thrilled to be here. Thank you for having me.
So, John, you are also known as Stan the Mechanic. So, what I would love to have you do is go ahead and let our listeners know, just in case they haven't heard about your program. Can you kind of give us a little bit of a plot summary of what your show is?
Sure, I'd love to. Thank you. Stan the Mechanic is the latest horror host to hopefully grace your TV screens in the great tradition of Vampira and Zachary and Elvira. Stan is a new queer horror host on Here TV, and we watch horror movies together with my assistants Brad and Janet in Stan's workshop in Brooklyn, New York. And a bit of his backstory is that he is the one and only satanic mechanic servicing vehicles for the supernatural community while getting into all sorts of shenanigans with the supernatural world. So, you can check us out at here.tv and use code STAN666 for a free month to check out the show if you want to. And I hope you will. It's a lot of fun. A lot of dick jokes. A lot of ridiculousness. So
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I have checked out the show a couple of episodes, and it's truly a treat to watch. So if anyone out there is hearing this right now, I highly recommend checking it out. You won't be disappointed.
Thank you. It's all about having some laughs. We all love horror. So, and the tradition of Elvira, I show some really schlocky films, and you kind of, need the horror host to break it up a bit and just jazz it up. So that's what we do, and we have a lot of fun doing it. So,
Well, the horror is why we are here today. So let's get to business. Hatchet, 2006. John, you're the guest. When was the first time you saw this movie?
Oh, wow. I'm going to say probably back around 2010, because I saw the director, Adam Green, and Kane Hodder, who plays Victor Crowley, at a convention, and they were doing a panel, and it kind of sparked my interest because I hadn't heard of it before then, and that caused me to take a dive into the series, and very happy I did so.
It's a pretty cool way to get introduced to the film, the director and your main actor, basically.
Oh yeah, totally. And not only that, Tony Todd and Robert Englund were at the same convention. So yeah, I got my my Hatchet DVD covered signed by all of them. So it's like one of the crown jewels in my geek horror collection. So
Okay, so I can't decide what I'm going to do now. I'm either going to stop talking to John because I'm jealous, or I'm going to break into his home to find that. So if it goes missing, just don't look for me, okay?
I understand.
Great way to get introduced to the movie by meeting the director and star. But speaking of the director and star, Gov, what's their backstory?
All right, the backstory for Hatchet. At the age of 8, while at summer camp, writer Adam Green told his fellow campers a ghost story of a deformed being who received a blow to the face with a hatchet, thus giving him the moniker Hatchet Face. The story stuck with Green through the years, culminating into a script he titled Hatchet. They secured independent funding by making a teaser trailer from the footage that they were taken from a Bayou Swamp tour, and went on to cast horror legends such as Tony Todd, Robert Englund, and Kane Hodder as Hatchet Face himself, Victor Crawley. Released in September 7th, 2007, Hatchet grew to a huge cult following, going on to produce 3 sequels. This is a big one in the horror community, is it not, fellas and lady?
Oh, sure. It's a
100%.
It's a cult classic, to say the least. I'll be honest. I had only seen bits and pieces up until just a couple nights ago, where I watched the whole thing. An interesting movie,
To say the least.
to say the least.
So, whoa. You haven't seen it until you had to watch it for the show.
Yeah.
What you're saying, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then we got Quinn, who just saw it for the first time herself the other night, no?
No, it is true.
So, John, you and me are the only one who are actually prepared for this.
Oh, come on, guys. No, but I'm glad you watched it. I hope you liked it, most importantly.
It was fun. I'm not going to lie. I was kind of sitting there watching it, kind of like bouncing along. I'm like, okay, I can get into this.
Was it fun?
It was fun.
F-U-N, fun?
Exactly. Big F-U.
Very good.
Little N.
Very good. Well, I'll say they definitely made that Geico commercial into an 83-minute long movie.
Which Geico commercial?
The one where we hide behind the chainsaws.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
That was my initial impression as the credits rolled.
Let's hide in the attic.
No, in the basement. Why can't we just get in the running car?
Are you crazy? Let's hide behind the chainsaws.
I liked it. The effects were practical. That hooks me right away. It was goofy. It was cheesy.
It was goofy, to say the least.
No, but like that's the nice thing about it is because it's not like I always say, you don't have to have an overcomplicated plot to have a good movie. Why not just make it something simple and make it enjoyable? You know, you dive right into it. You know?
Yeah, I feel like it moves super fast, and it was meant to be a throwback to the fun kind of like 80s cheese slasher, and I think it was really effective in doing that. Like, and it was obvious that it was made by people that love horror movies. Like, there's so many references to the genre. It was just, I love it. I find it hilarious because that's my type of humor. I'm like, yeah, I'm perpetually like a college-aged boy. Like, so, you know, all the jokes were totally right on with me. And I loved especially the 2 girls that were supposed to be working like for Beaver Bayous, like the Girls Gone Wild kind of deal. I found them hysterical. Just the little cat fights and everything. I thought that was fantastic.
I'm not going to lie. The very first kill in that movie, besides like Robert Englund and his son, they like launched right into it, and I remember thinking right off the bat, I'm like, well, that escalated really quickly, really fast, but I like it.
Yeah, I think they were saying like it was written purposefully to kind of like make you think, like, forget that you're watching a horror movie, and it's more of a comedy really for the first like 45 minutes, and then once the violence starts, it doesn't stop until the final scene. And I am here for it, guys. I loved it.
Well, what I found interesting, because I researched the movie and I caught the making of featurette, and where Adam Green says that personally he doesn't like humor in horror films, and yet he couldn't find a way not to add it into his script. I don't know if you know anything, John, about like why he felt that was important, or why he went against his better nature to add it.
Yeah, I think in like consequent interviews, he said that because he's like, and no offense to him, because I do love Adam Green and I'm a big fan of all of his movies. He is definitely one of my favorite horror directors. He's a big goofball, you know what I'm saying? Like, he also had, I don't know if you guys have checked it out. He had a show called Holliston, which is on Shudder right now.
Oh, yes, yes.
And it's a comedy. It's a sitcom. So he's naturally a really funny, chill dude, but he has said as long as the comedy doesn't get in the way of horror, he's good with it. So like an example of what he means by that is a lot of people were pissed when Halloween 2018 came out. There's when Michael kills the blonde babysitter, and then there's the little kid she's babysitting, and he says like this, "Oh shit," while Michael's there, and runs out, and it like breaks the tension of the scene. That's what Adam Green hates about like comedy and horror. But if they're separated, kind of like in the movie where the first half is a comedy and the second half is horror, he's supposedly all good with that.
So then here's a question. Does that also kind of like represent that this is kind of like a script that naturally wrote itself in a sense? If he wasn't intentionally putting in the comedy and he's like, there's kind of no way around it, to me that reads as the story, the script was writing itself. I mean, thoughts?
I mean, I think he knew what he wanted to make.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's all over the film, is what his intentions were and everything like that.
I mean, I think the two genres kind of, you know, especially if you're going for like 80s cheese. I mean, I think comedy is just inherently part of it, because some of those movies, whether they meant to be or not, they're hilarious. You know what I mean?
True.
Well, there is a fine line between laughing and screaming, usually, and, you know, just based on emotion and stuff like that.
Where you get confused that you're doing both at the same time.
Right.
You don't know what you're doing. One thing I will like to point out about the beginning is Robert Englund in the very beginning and Kane Hodder's character. So you kind of got your Kane versus Robert that we all wanted. That, you know, Freddy and Jason.
You saying they made up for the boo-boo of Freddy versus Jason?
Yeah. And us fans kind of deserved it.
Well, we've gotten it a couple times.
Yeah.
Just not in that context.
Well, I mean, I'll take what I can get.
Nah. Wasn't John Carl Buechler didn't he do the effects for this film too? Wasn't he responsible for creating Victor Crowley?
Yes, I believe so. He did all the effects, and then I also, him and Kane Hodder have a good history, because John Carl Buechler directed Friday 7, which was the first time Kane Hodder was Jason, and he like fought to get Kane to play the role. So match made in heaven, I think, there between those two.
What do we think about Victor Crowley as the character? I mean, I've read things like, you know, he's a Jason wannabe. I've heard different things about he's not intriguing, but then I've heard the flip side of like he's got a huge fan base and should be up there with the legends, should be up there with your Leatherfaces, your Freddy Kruegers, and your Jasons.
Well, he's got a Toonie Terror action figure, so
Yeah.
I would say he's definitely crept into the icons of the genre.
Mm-hmm.
So then are you guys saying that you feel like he's almost like a underappreciated horror icon?
You know, maybe a lot like Sam from Trick or Treat.
True.
Just not to the degree. He doesn't get the promotion he does at Halloween time. But he's known and he's loved.
It's true.
And he's got, 4 movies behind him now?
I don't know. I just saw the first one.
Yeah, Hatchet 2, 3, and Victor Crowley.
I don't know.
And by the way, as you know, this is off topic, but as a music guy, every time I hear the name Crowley, I think of Ozzy Osbourne.
Right,
know.
that's what I can say.
I just, I can't get the first 3 chords out of my head after I hear the name.
So, John, I'm curious. Like, is there something about this movie that, like, hooked you? Like, something in this movie that just kind of stuck with you, and you were like, "Yeah, this is good."
The kills are incredible in this movie. It's that over the top violence that I love. It borders on exploitation, but it doesn't. I don't think it crosses that line. But I'm sure people would have different opinions. But it's the same reason I love Terrifier. I would think Terrifier and Hatchet would make a great double feature because of the extremity of violence in both of them, which I love. I mean, I gotta say, with this one, the one where he like just tears that lady's mouth open and then you got the tongue wagging in the air. I mean, I haven't seen something like that since I hit the gay club last year. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I loved it. And the Sandbelter kill was just...
That was my favorite.
Yeah.
That won me over. That was fantastic.
That was pretty intense. I loved it. So I think that really stuck with me. And then, also, I like the comedy in the beginning of it. I know some people... would debate that, but I liked having a good feel-good comedy romp there, and then transitioning into this like batshit crazy horror film. It checked all the boxes for me. It was just campy, funny, incredibly violent, and just I was never bored. That's the one thing. Like I love these slow burn horror movies just as much as the next person, but give me something like this where it's a thrill ride from the beginning to the end, and you got a fan for life. So
here's a really random question that I'd like to hear the 3 of you vote on. Victor Crowley versus Art the Clown. Who would win?
But before we dive into that, we feel now is the best time to tell you that Scarifyer are proud supporters of Rue Morgue. Rue Morgue is the world's leading horror and culture and entertainment brand, spearheaded by its multiple award-winning magazine, Rue Morgue and Rue Morgue Digital. But if reading is not your thing, that's okay, because there's Rue Morgue TV, the official YouTube channel, as well as Rue Morgue Cinema, which produced the acclaimed original film The Last Will and Testament of Rosalind Lee. So head over to RueMorgue.com and subscribe to Rue Morgue Magazine for your bi-monthly slice of horror culture and entertainment today.
Wow.
I asked the question.
I say let's wait for Art the Clown's sequel.
True. Let's see what you can get up to. Go, John.
Yikes! That's a tough one, man. My instinct is Victor Crowley, just because like he's kind of a ghost and unkillable, but I hear Art is going to be somewhat supernatural in the sequel. We're going to get a little bit more backstory, so. I think Art might also be unkillable. I don't know. It's a tough call, but I think I'm going to say Victor Crowley would win.
Well, I'll just go and say that David Howard Thornton's a friend of the show. So in the battle versus Victor Crowley and Art the Clown, nepotism wins. So
100%.
Well, there we go. There's a poll that we can have our listeners do. What do you guys think, Art the Clown versus Victor Crowley?
All right, well, let me throw who wins in a fight, David Howard Thornton or Kane Hodder.
Oh, okay. That's not fair. That's not fair. That's a fight I'm going to look at and be like, nope.
You asked a dumb question. I'll respond with a dumber one.
Ah, I see. I see how it is. If I had feelings, that would have really hurt.
David Howard Thornton's such a cool guy. I love that, he's a friend of the show. I ran into him at a convention, I would say a year and a half ago, and they were doing photo ops with him dressed as Art the Clown, right? And I went up to his signing table, got my stuff signed, and I was like, listen, I have a ticket for the photo op. I was like, but I'm a large statured gay, busty male, and he's a slender guy, and I was just like, would you mind if I picked you up for the photo op? And he was 100% down with it. So it's kind of made its way around like the Art the Clown Appreciation Society page and stuff. There's a picture of me holding him like as if we're crossing the threshold and just got married. So it's pretty rad. He's such a cool guy.
I think I've seen that photo, and I'm not gonna lie, I loved that. I was like, that's where it is.
He was just totally up for it. He was absolutely, and then he did, he added the thing like he kicked his leg out, like he really just got into it and behind it. So I love that. And Damian Leone is just a rad dude, man. He's awesome. But
they're such cool people.
Yeah, they really are.
Please ask Kane Hodder to do the same the next time you see him.
Right. Oh my God. He's a big, soft teddy bear. I know he'd rip my throat out for saying it too, but like he's such a nice dude, like really nice guy. Can't say enough about him either. It's, he's just so generous with the fans and just really takes the time to kind of talk to you and get to know you. And have you guys seen his the documentary about him, like To Hell and Back?
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, so he's gone through some stuff, and when you share like personal things about what you've gone through with him or whatever, like he's just 100% there and down with you, and just really cool guy too. So I don't know. I'm a big geek. I've spent lots of money and time at these conventions. I'm sorry. I keep prattling on about it.
No, but to me, that earns a lot of respect, at least in my book. I can't speak for everybody, but in my book, that earns a lot of respect, because to be that kind of person that is well known, I mean, let's face it, Kane Hodder is like the most respected, favored Jason in the franchise history. And he doesn't have to spend 5 minutes with you. But the fact, because I've heard it from lots of people, that he just takes that time and talks to you, that's huge to me,
Yeah.
Because they don't have to do that. You're not paying for their time, but they want to talk to you and they want to be on that personal, level with you. I mean, we did an interview with Adam Marcus, and he just talked to us, and he was so personal with us, and they don't have to do that. They're busy people, but 100%. They do that. And that to me is huge. I could go on and on about that.
Awesome. I mean, Kane's definitely, he seems like he's a very special dude. And I'll even say, I'm slowly over the last 5 years introduced my wife into the horror genre. She was, never really watched anything until she met me, and she hadn't watched any of the Friday the 13th movies, and we watched Kane's doc together, and she's a lifelong fan of him just on who he is alone. So I mean, the guy's a special dude.
I've thought, getting back to Kane, yeah, I know.
Wow.
I know it's hard. Getting back to Kane as Victor Crowley, there's two things I want to point out. One, and I'll ask this for, the room, do you guys feel like this was his successor to Jason? Because obviously he was no longer playing Jason by the time this movie was made and released. But also, what'd you guys think of him as Victor Crowley's father?
I liked it. It showed a very strong acting side of Kane, which we all know he has, but most horror fans don't really get to see that. I think it cemented him more as a horror icon. Yeah. He's become more than just Jason.
Yeah, he's got two icons under his belt now.
So that's kind of where I look at that.
It re-cemented that I would not pick a fight with this man. I mean, I'm just going to say. John, what do you think?
Oh, I definitely agree. It just it cemented him in. If he wasn't already iconic, it just reaffirms that. And he'll always be Jason, and I know that's what he's more famous for. But like, he originated the character of Victor Crowley, so in a lot of ways, I think he's got a bigger sense of pride for that. He said that certainly before, and then I know he also took the role because he had the opportunity to act without the makeup on.
Right.
And I think he did a phenomenal job. And as the story goes on in the sequels, you see a lot more of Kane without the makeup on, and he has to deliver lines, and there's a whole storyline about the father that gets fleshed out in the sequels. So it's really cool to see him do that, and I know he was excited to do it, and I think he did a bang up job.
So have you seen all the sequels, John?
Many times. This is one of my favorite franchises. I have no shame in saying that. I think it's fantastic.
So there's 4 of them, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so in order, like which ones are your favorite? I'm curious.
Ooh, wow. Okay.
I keep asking the hard questions.
You do.
It's because I've had my caffeine.
Ooh, wow. I'm gonna say the original would probably be my favorite, followed by Victor Crowley, which is part 4, and then I would say 2 and 3. Victor Crowley, part 4. I'm sure you guys saw the last drive-in episode where Joe Bob had the whole cast on.
Oh, yeah.
So that was great because you had like all these horror legends in there, and it just, I don't know, it just added something, to see Felissa Rose in there and Tiffany Shepis, and Hatchet 2 and 3 is great and interesting with Danielle Harris takes over the lead, by the way, of Mary Beth.
Steps in,
Yep.
Yeah, and no offense to Tamara Feldman, I think, who plays Mary Beth in this one, but I think Danielle Harris really is better in the role. I hate to say it, but
she's a strong actress, so that's kind of that's a tough act to, follow. She's so powerful.
She is fantastic, and I heard the actress that played the lead in this one, like, apparently was giving them some issues when time came to do Hatchet 2 and 3, and it's kind of like that meme, fuck around and find out. Like, she fucked around and she found out because they dumped her and cast Danielle Harris instead. So.
Well, I mean, what's their loss in that? It's like, okay, she's giving them bullshit and they don't want to deal with it. So, okay, we have another spot for another horror icon.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Where's the disadvantage?
Exactly. Kind of a win-win for them.
100%. So I'd be kicking myself, like, because to be the final girl in a pretty successful franchise, but maybe she didn't want to go the horror route. Who knows? I mean, there's not much information about that, but I know I'd be upset.
Right.
I mean, we all want to be final girls, don't we? I mean, hello.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
My aspiration in life. Are you kidding?
I wanted to ask about was they're going through the swamp, right? And obviously it rains, okay? Now, I'm from Florida, okay? You walk in the swamp.
I thought you were from Ohio.
Oh my God. I can already hear the insert. Thanks a lot, guys. Let me reiterate. I was born in Florida and I lived there till I was 12. So now that everyone's on the same page.
And then Ohio.
Then Ohio. Yeah, there's another insert. You guys are assholes. See what I have to work with, John? Help me.
Come to Stan's workshop. Okay. There's always a home for you there.
Am I safe there?
You were safe there. You'll be under my protection.
Okay, then fuck you two. I'm going with him.
We'll be the guys outside the workshop with Ohio plates.
Okay, so back to my points. So they're walking through a swamp, and if you've ever been in a swamp, it's wet, it's mucky, okay? Your legs are going to get soaked, all right? Before it starts raining, they're not wet at all. The only time they get wet is when it rains. I have a little issue with the consistency there.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, so what's your point? There's
besides the one on top of my head, it's just a consistency issue.
Continuity error. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Well, it's a horror movie. Suspend disbelief. Get over it.
Oh my God. I don't feel safe in my environment.
I think Adam Green would agree with you 100% because they said during production They were on a really tight budget, and the rains would just come through because this movie was shot in California on it was the Sable Ranch in Santa Clarita. So the rains would come through sporadically at night, and he would say it would fuck up a scene. They would have filmed something, and the rain comes through, and then there was continuity errors, and they just kind of had to roll with it because there was no budget to do reshoots. I think they tried to add in some CGI rain here and there where they could, but there just wasn't money to fix it. So it's a valid point, and you're 100% right to call it out.
I mean, but sometimes, you just got to work with what you got.
Now I feel like a dick. Thanks, guys.
Well, no, it's not just that, but it's just one of the, look
You suck!
Well, look who you're talking to. I literally nitpick everything about these movies.
Okay, but you
and stuff
are
like
an
that.
asshole. I want people to believe that I'm nice until they get to know me.
Well, then you're just lying to them.
It's not lying. It's suspending belief, It's fabricating reality. I don't believe in the word lying. I fabricate reality.
It goes back to, like, the palm trees in Halloween, the original Halloween in
Please
1978 and stuff like that. You can either accept it and move on with the story, or those palm trees will be the bane of your existence. That's all you see when you watch the movie. So, it's half and half with me sometimes.
So what you're saying is just sit back, shut up, relax, have fun.
If you can, because most of the times I can't. So
Because you're an asshole. Oh my God.
Well, I mean, that's a good point that Gov makes. Because no, seriously, if we weren't really focused on watching this movie because we're going to review it, would we have really cared?
That's true.
Exactly.
Honestly,
I would have.
Well, you're in the very special category, Gov, of douchebag, and you just do you. Dude.
I'm the cynic critic. That's what I like to say.
I have a question for everybody. Can anyone tell me I can't remember her name right now, so please forgive me, the blonde who's auditioning for Bayou Beavers? Can anyone tell me what else she was in?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yes.
I was about to say, are you referring to Mercedes McNabb?
Yes. She was also on Angel. She was one of my favorite characters on Angel, Harmony.
Yeah. She was also the adversary to Wednesday Addams in
Addams
the
Family.
Addams Family movies.
Are they made from real lemons?
Are they made from real Girl Scouts? I actually liked the characters. I thought it was very interesting to see Joel Moore as, like, the leading man, because he's so used to being cast in, like, goofy movies and stuff like that. Like, the one that I immediately thought of, I'm like, oh, it's the guy from Dodgeball. Yeah. You know what I mean? And but I thought he held the movie really well.
I did too.
Kind of shows a nice versatility for him.
Which I think is why he wanted to do the film, is like he wanted a chance to be like the leading man.
He was great. So was the best friend Marcus. And it was crazy to think he was Kenny on the Cosby Show.
Yeah.
Friend.
Yeah, that's Dion Richmond, right? As Marcus.
Yes.
Yep.
He was great. Like I said earlier, the girls had me rolling. Mercedes McNabb's character is probably my favorite in this movie. I just think she was hilarious. I mean, she's basically like, she's a gay man in this film. So.
Pretty much.
Yeah, like I said, the only thing that was missing is post-credit Jerry Springer final thoughts. And
What'd you want them to do? Like have chairs like start beating each other with them or something?
I don't know. I just thought it would have been hilarious to see Jerry Springer.
Victor Crowley, you are not the father.
The two characters I loved were, and they're not with us long in this movie, but the two old tourists.
Oh God.
Oh yeah.
They had me cracking up the whole time when he's like, "Oh, you make movies. What movies have you made?"
Have you heard of Bayou Beavers? Yes. No.
Richard Raleigh, he's been in everything.
He really has.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, they were all characters we've seen and characters we love. That's what I think I liked about it so much. And Perry Shen, who played the tour guide, there too. I guess maybe it would be problematic now because of maybe the Asian stereotyping, but I was listening to the director's commentary, and basically, he knew and was on board with everything that Adam had written, but he did request that they dropped kind of like the Asian accent voice in favor of like just a regular Americanized voice, because he thought it would be offensive to the Asian community. So it's important to kind of throw that out there. I mean, I try that on the show too. Like, we love horror. We know there's some problematic things here and there, and I think that was something that people might or might not have been offended about. So I just figured good to throw that in there, that the actor was aware of it and kind of had discussions with them on how to change it and make it better. So, but otherwise the character, I think, is really funny and adds a lot to the movie. And I think that actor appears in all 4 films too. So it's funny how they do that. If anybody chooses to go on with the franchise.
No, but that's actually like a really cool way to, and professional way to go about what could be perceived as like a sensitive issue, and he was really cool about it. Like, hey, this is how we can do it in a good way. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. They try to make it as, as I guess PC as possible or whatnot. So I just thought that was cool and interesting to hear, because there's a lot of discussions about representation and all that stuff in horror right now. So I was kind of happy to hear that it was a discussion and it wasn't just thrown in there willy-nilly. So
no, exactly. I truly believe there's like a good way to go about things and a not so great way to go about things. And from the sound of it, it sounds like it was really cool.
Yeah, but guys, I have a bit of trivia for you. Do you know how this movie is related to the office of the President of the United States of America?
No.
I can't say I do.
Okay, well, so a bit of research uncovered that this movie was shot at the Sable Ranch in Santa Clarita, right? So it's a desert, and basically the crew brought in all the greenery to make it look like a swamp. And so they would do night shoots, of course, for the horror movie. And then during the day, there was a porno movie that was using the same sets for filming. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Power Tool Massacre, but that classic, but it was written by and starring Stormy Daniels, which of course links Hatchet to the President of the United States of America. I thought that's a fun piece of trivia.
I've never been more patriotic.
Right?
Try rewatching Hatchet now.
Never look at it the same way.
And was Mercedes McNabb in it?
I think she passed. But yeah, so, for all you Hatchet completists out there, if you want to see everything having to do with Hatchet, please take a look at Power Tool Massacre.
See, everything has a balance to it, right?
Apparently.
I mean, porn and horror kind of go hand in hand too, which
Exploitation's exploitation.
I was just about to say.
I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about like nudity in horror? Because I'm just going to go ahead and say I love it. I know there's a movement kind of against it nowadays, but I say equalize it. I mean, I'm happy to look at nude men and nude women. Let's do it. Like,
I'm okay with that. I say let's make it equal.
Yeah, let's make it equal.
I've always thought if it makes sense, it makes sense. Who cares? So, and that goes for men and women. If it makes sense, okay. I mean, I don't really have a strong opinion either way.
I mean, I guess if it doesn't deviate too far from the story, I'm a realist. I know what people are usually going to see when they go to these movies. They're going to want to see, especially in the slasher genre, they're going to want to see blood, guts, and tits, and or, you know what I mean? So, yeah, as long as it doesn't deviate from the story and everything like that, I'm all for it. Never bothered me, never fazed me. I'm with our other friend of the show, Adam Marcus, on it should be equal in terms of you should be able to see as much men naked as you should be able to see as much women naked and stuff like that. So
See, that's the thing. I'm bisexual, so hey,
Well,
it's
you
a
know,
win for me either
right,
way.
so you're covered no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm losing out, but hey, listen, I enjoy a nice pair of breasts too. Why not? Let's do it. I mean,
But I think that there is something that almost is, to a degree, necessary about nudity because it does kind of show that vulnerability. Do you know what I mean?
Sure. And I guess that goes to my thought. If it makes sense, it makes sense. My Bloody Valentine 3D, where she, for 15 minutes running through a motel parking lot completely naked. That's
No, she was wearing heels.
okay.
Perfect.
All right, sorry. So
She was decent.
She was very classy.
Exactly.
a lady.
I mean, so I guess that's pushing it to someone just happening to get out of a shower, but if it's not taken away from the story, and it makes sense, take it or leave it. If you're going to watch a horror movie for naked guys or girls alone, you probably shouldn't be going to watch a horror movie.
Exactly.
There's an entirely other category of movie for that.
Yes, with horror themes, if that's what you're into.
Sure. Well, like John said earlier, there's really not much of a difference.
Yeah. Might I recommend Power Tool Massacre?
Exactly.
The spiritual sequel.
Oh God.
All right, guys. So I think it's that time of the show that we rank this thing.
All right.
Yeah.
So, but before we get into our personal thoughts and rankings of this movie, let's see what everybody else had to say about this movie. The Internet Movie Database gave Hatchet a 5.7 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 55%. Metacritic gave it a 57. And all the crazy people out in Google land, 80% of them like this movie.
So pretty much right down the middle with the exception of Google.
Yeah.
So, John, we know you're a big fan. Where does this rank? 1 through 5 for you?
I am going to give this a very enthusiastic 5. I think this is a 5 meaning best of, right? Yeah?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, 100%. 5. I think this is a super fun slasher movie, a great throwback, thrill ride from beginning to end. Can't say enough about it. Love it. I highly recommend this to everyone listening.
Quinn?
I think I'm going to follow in John's footsteps and give it a 5 because I was going to give it a 4 until I heard about the porn movie, so that gave it an extra star. Yeah, really? Just hold on. It was going to get like a 4. I was like, yeah, it's got some problems, but no. Now that I know that there was an adult film on it, I'm going to give it a 5 because I like the fact that it's bloody and gory for blood and gore's sake. It's Ace's favorite word, fun.
Apparently. Gov, burst everybody's bubble.
2.
No.
Come on, make us sad.
I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Yeah, I know.
I was close.
I'm taking 1 point away for the kind of, again, I appreciate humor and horror. But again, though it's fun, I see it somewhat as distracting, especially in the beginning of the film. I will say toward the progression of the film, it evened itself out, especially when the kills started happening and Victor started showing up and stuff like that. It did even itself out, but it was very heavy in the beginning. And I'm going to take another point away because I could have been watching a porno this whole time.
Yeah.
So a 3. I'll go down the middle.
Okay, so we
All right, Ace.
we got 3 amateur numbers, and
Wow,
we're
you're
supposed to be
really?
we're supposed to be professionals
Not
here.
this shit again.
I'm gonna give it a 3.4.
Oh, God.
First time watching it, it's fun to watch. Yes.
Oh, my
F.
God.
N,
Oh.
Quinn, Little N. Remember that. Remember
Yes.
that Little N.
Yeah, little.
Okay.
Little.
I'm sold whenever I see practical effects and no CGI blood.
Right.
And that was huge for me. Kane Hodder was fantastic in it. the horror cameos, made the movie for me. So yeah, this is something. If I'm bored, I'll watch again. So I'll give it a 3.4.
Your math is just blowing me away right now.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and say you guys gave it a 3. So when like Stan the Mechanics, like supernatural buddies or demons or whatever come to get you motherfuckers, I'm leaving your asses. Bye. Okay.
That's right. Quinn's turning up on season 2 of Stan the Mechanic. We heard it first.
I'll wave to you guys. How's that? And to all the losers and assholes out there that gave Hatchet a 3 and a 3.4. Ha.
Well, I mean,
Come at me.
come at you.
Come at me.
Because I give The Exorcist a 5. This is not The Exorcist.
I don't think Exorcist is worth a 5.
Really? But this
Really?
is okay. You're wheeling and dealing to get on John's show.
No, because here's the thing. Exorcist was good. Please don't get me wrong, and it was a pioneer. We're talking about Exorcist when we're supposed to be talking about Hatchet, John. I'd like to apologize for their
You're
unprofessionalism.
criticizing me for my ranking of movies.
I'm not criticizing you. I'm a mocking you. Exorcist is good, but the problem with Exorcist, it was overhyped. Just like fucking Twilight, and I'm sorry if that offends anybody. And just like the Beatles, they were overhyped.
Listen.
I'm gonna get fired.
Listen.
I'm gonna get fired.
Listen.
John, can I send you my resume?
Yeah.
You're already hired.
See, okay, so I'm set.
Say whatever you want.
This Beatle conversation will go 3 hours, and I just don't have that time
Oh
right
my
now.
God.
But The Exorcist is considered the greatest horror movie of all time.
Says who?
Just about 90% of the world.
Okay, I'm gonna set up one of those little booths where it says like pineapple doesn't belong on pizza. Change my mind.
It doesn't.
I'm gonna have a booth. What's wrong with pineapple?
There's nothing wrong with pineapple.
I just
on
spit
pizza.
on my microphone. I just got so worked up. Pineapple's fine on pizza.
We're having too much fun here, Quinn. F-U-N.
F-U-N. And this is why we do what we do.
Anyway, horror is subjective. Quinn can love Hatchet all she wants,
And I'll eat it with
Ace
pineapple-topped pizza.
and Ace can love Exorcist all he wants. It's okay. You guys can have those. You can do a 3.4 for whatever reason. You can do a 5, even though we know you're just trying to get on John's show. It's all okay.
So
And we know you're just trying to look like the good guy for once.
can somebody scratch that spot on my back? Because I think that knife is just kind of...
John, this has been a pleasure. I'm sorry that we're ignoring you.
I'm so sorry.
I am staying way out of it. I'm responsible for breaking up the Scarifyer crew. Are you kidding?
This is daily.
But please tell everybody one more time where they can find Stan the Mechanic.
Yes. Well, you can follow me on social media at Stan the Mechanic on Instagram and Twitter. Very active on both platforms. And the show airs on Here TV. The website is here.tv, or you can download the app on your tablet, on your phone, on your Apple TV, your Roku. And like I said, if you use Stan 666, you'll get a free month on me. And just a bit about Here TV. It's a LGBT film and television show streaming platform where you get the best of queer entertainment and me being a part of that. So I hope you'll check us out, and then follow me on socials. There's a lot of big things coming down the pike, and there'll be more places where you can find Stan and keep up with all my misadventures.
Awesome. Amazing.
Very good. Thank you so much. We're going to have to do this again sometime.
I'd love to. Anytime, guys. This was a blast.
Hey there, it's Quinn from Scarifyer. You ever have one of those days where you're out on the lake and the sun's going down, gazing into the eyes of that special someone, and then you realize, I brought my machete, but no hockey mask. Well, if you're in a rush to make a killing, Head over to 13X Studios and get your very own custom hockey mask. Mask creator Rick Stizinski takes a hands-on approach to every order to create the perfect mask to your specialized needs. Why would you settle for red triangles when you can shop an assortment of original styles and colors? Rick's clientele includes Nightmare Toys, Kevin Smith, and Kane Hodder. Head online to follow 13X Studio on all social media platforms. Then go over to 13X Studios on Etsy to put in your custom order today. Don't get caught with your mask off while devising your next decapitation. Go to 13xstudios.com.
Scarifyer.